Imagine this. The alarm clock goes off. And instead of that feeling of dread about the workday, this sense of complete freedom just washes over you. No meetings, no deadlines, just, pure choice in how you spend your day.
That's the dream, isn't it? The ultimate retirement goal.
Exactly. And look, it might feel really far off, especially if you're just starting your career, but it's actually achievable. It just takes some planning.
Right. And that's what we're diving into today, the real basics of retirement planning, aimed specifically at you if you're kind of earlier on in your working life.
Yeah, we're working from this really comprehensive guide. It doesn't just say start early, which, okay, we kind of know that.
We all get that part, yeah.
But it actually breaks down how to do it, the practical steps.
Exactly. The goal here isn't to just throw a bunch of finance jargon at you.
No. We want you to walk away with a clear, actionable roadmap, basically. Hopefully have a few of those aha moments.
Right. So we'll dig into why it matters now, whatever your age, what the essential building blocks are.
Those early wealth building strategies, potential bumps in the road.
Yeah, the challenges and some real world examples to kind of bring it home. Okay, so where do we start?
Well, maybe with how things have changed, because retirement today looks, really different from how it did for, say, our parents or grandparents.
Oh, absolutely. The guide points this out really well. Historically, you had more reliance on company pensions, those guaranteed income streams for life.
Right. And maybe more expectation of family helping out later on.
Exactly. So the pressure on individuals to plan proactively, it just wasn't the same.
Yeah, that whole idea of the gold watch and the guaranteed pension, it feels a bit like ancient history now for many.
It really does. And this guide highlights the big shifts. Pensions are much rarer. People are living a lot longer.
Which is great, but it costs more.
Right. Healthcare costs are soaring. Inflation is always eating away at savings.
And then there's the whole question mark over government social security systems, How much can we really rely on those long-term?
That's the big unknown, which really underlines why taking personal responsibility, being proactive, it's just, it's essential now. It's not just a nice to have.
And this leads into what the guide calls the youth paradox. That feeling of, I've got loads of time, I'll deal with retirement later.
Yeah, it's such an easy trap to fall into. You're young, you've got other financial pressures.
But here's the kicker, and the guide really emphasizes this. That time you think you have, that's not a reason to wait. It's actually your single biggest advantage.
Absolutely. It all comes down to the power of compound interest. We'll get into the nitty-gritty of that, but basically, starting early gives your money much, much more time to grow. It's a game changer.
Okay, so let's lay the groundwork then. What are the core pieces? The guide says step 1 is setting actual retirement goals.
Yeah, and this isn't just, I'd like to stop working someday. It's about really visualizing it.
Like, what do you want to do? Travel the world? Start a little business? Just live comfortably without stressing about bills?
Exactly, because that picture dictates two really important things when you might realistically want to retire.
Early retirement, traditional age.
Right. And crucially, how much money you're going to need to fund that lifestyle. This is where things like retirement calculators come in really handy.
Okay, yeah, calculators can seem a bit daunting, but they basically help you turn those dreams into actual numbers.
Right, precisely. They give you a target to aim for. So once you have some idea of the goal, the next piece is understanding the tools, the saving and investment vehicles you can use.
Right. The guide lists a few key ones, like employer plans.
Yeah. So in the U.S., that's often the 401k. Other places have things like an EPF. The huge advantage here is usually the employer match.
Ah, the free money.
The free money. Your employer literally matches some of your contribution. It's like an immediate return on your investment. You absolutely want to get that if it's offered.
Definitely. Okay, what else? IRAs?
Yep. Individual retirement accounts. You've got traditional IRAs and Roth IRAs. The main difference is basically when you pay taxes now with a Roth or later with a traditional.
Gotcha. And then there are more general investments.
Right. The guide mentions things like mutual funds, index funds, ETFs. Those are basically baskets of investments, ways to diversify easily. And real estate can be part of a long-term strategy too.
Okay, so lots of options. Seems like the key is just understanding the basics of each.
Yeah, and realizing that retirement planning isn't just about investing and growing money. The guide makes a really strong point about emergency funds and insurance.
Oh, this is so important and easy to overlook when you're younger. The guide says, 3 to 6 months of living expenses?
Yeah, have that cash saved up in an easily accessible place. It's your buffer. So if you lose your job or have a big medical bill or, the car breaks down.
You're not raiding your retirement savings.
Exactly. You're not derailing your long-term goals because of a short-term crisis. Think of it like a financial firewall.
Makes sense. And insurance.
Also key, health insurance, obviously. But disability insurance, too. What happens if you get sick or injured and can't work for a while? That protects your income.
Hadn't thought as much about that one.
And life insurance, especially if you have dependents, provides for them if something happens to you. These might seem like boring adult things, but they're foundational. They protect everything else you're building.
Okay, so we have the building blocks. Goals, accounts, safety nets. Now let's get back to that starting early power. Compound interest.
Yes. This is where it gets really exciting, mathematically speaking.
Uh-oh, math.
Ha ha ha. No, it's simple. Compound interest just means you earn returns on your original money and on the returns you've already earned.
So your money makes money, and then that money starts making money.
Precisely. It snowballs. It grows exponentially. And the interesting thing is our brains aren't great at intuitively grasping exponential growth. We think linearly.
Which means we underestimate how big a deal starting early is.
Massively. The guide has a great example. Let's say you invest $5,000 when you're 25. If it grows at, say, 7% a year on average, by age 65, that $5,000 could become almost $75,000.
Wow. Dang.
But if you wait just 10 years and invest that same $5,000 at age 35 with the same 7% return, by 65, you'd only have about $38,000.
Less than half, just from waiting 10 years.
Exactly. You basically double your outcome by starting a decade earlier without putting in double the money. That's the power of time.
It's huge, like planting a tree versus planting a seed. And it's not just about starting, right? The guide talks about habits, too.
Oh, definitely. Good habits amplify the compounding, like automating your savings.
Pay yourself first.
Right. Set up that automatic transfer to your retirement account every payday. You don't even miss it. Also, avoiding high-interest debt is critical.
Like credit cards. That interest works against you.
Severely. And another good habit, whenever you get a raise, bump up your retirement contribution. Even just 1% more makes a big difference over decades.
And just generally, living below your means, spending less than you earn, frees up money to save.
It's the foundation. And thankfully, we don't have to rely just on willpower. Tech can help.
Yeah, the apps. The guide mentions a few.
Yeah, things like Mint or YNAB.
Yeah.
You need a budget. They're great for tracking spending, setting budgets, seeing where your money is actually going.
The handle on things.
Exactly. And apps like Acorns make it super easy to start investing small amounts, like rounding up your purchases. These tools can really demystify managing your money.
Okay, but it's not always smooth sailing, right?
Yeah.
What about the challenges? The guide brings those up too.
Yeah, definitely. Two big ones are inflation and market volatility. Inflation is that silent killer, It just eats away at your purchasing power over time.
So the money you save today won't buy as much in 20 or 30 years.
Exactly. The solution the guide suggests: invest in things that historically tend to grow faster than inflation over the long haul, like stocks or real estate.
Okay, and market volatility.
Yeah.
The ups and downs of the stock market. That can freak people out, especially new investors.
Oh, for sure. It's tempting when the market drops to panic and sell everything.
Yeah, pull your money out until things look safer.
But the guide really advises against that. History shows markets recover. Staying invested, riding out the bumps is usually the better long-term strategy. Trying to time the market, almost impossible to do consistently.
Okay, stay the course. What are the challenges? Lifestyle creep.
Yes, that's a sneaky one. You get a raise, you start making more money.
And suddenly you're spending more. Nicer car, bigger apartment, more dinners out.
It's natural, but it can seriously eat into your potential savings. The guide suggests a rule, like maybe commit to saving half of every future raise.
That's a concrete strategy. So your lifestyle improves a bit, but your savings rate improves even more.
Exactly. It helps keep that creep in check. And then there's the challenge of not knowing where to start. Financial literacy.
Yeah, it can feel overwhelming. All these terms, all these options.
It's a common hurdle, but totally solvable. The guide recommends some great starting points. Classic books like Rich Dad, Poor Dad, or The Simple Path to Wealth.
Accessible stuff.
Yeah, and online resources too. It mentions the SideBySide YouTube channel, online courses. Just starting to educate yourself makes a huge difference. Knowledge is power here.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And to make it less abstract, the guide have those real-world examples, right? The case studies.
Yeah, those really drive the point home. There's Sarah, who starts saving just $200 a month at age 22. because she was consistent and because of compounding.
Over 40 years.
Right. By age 62, she had over $500,000.
Wow, from $200 a month, okay.
Then there's Allie. He starts later, age 40. He actually saves more each month, $700.
Okay, so he should end up with more, right?
You'd think so, but no, because he had less time for compounding to work its magic, by age 62, he only had around $300,000.
Wow. Less money, even though he saved more each month. That really shows the cost of waiting.
It really does, and that leads perfectly into that Warren Buffett quote the guide includes.
Oh, the classic. The best time to start was yesterday. The second best time is today.
So true. Just get started.
The guide also touches on some newer trends, right? Things like the FIRE movement.
Yeah. Financial independence, retire early. That's gained a lot of attention. It usually involves saving like a huge chunk of your income, 50% or more.
Intense. But appealing to some.
Definitely. Also mentions ESG investing, environmental, social, governance, people wanting their investments to align with their values.
Right, making an impact with your money.
And robo-advisors. These automated online platforms that manage your investments for you, often at low cost. They make it really easy for beginners to get started with a diversified portfolio.
Okay, lots happening in this space. So pulling it all together, how do you actually build your plan? The guide gives steps.
Yep, a clear roadmap. Step 1, pick a target retirement age. When do you realistically want to aim for?
Okay, then.
Estimate your retirement expenses. Think about basic living costs, but also those travel dreams, hobbies, etc. Factor it all in.
Then figure out where the money will come from, like Social Security, maybe a pension, and your own savings.
Exactly. Compare your estimated expenses to your projected income sources. That difference, that's your savings gap. That tells you how much you need to accumulate.
Which then helps you choose the right investments.
Yeah.
Based on like how much risk you're okay with, how long you have until retirement.
Precisely. Your risk tolerance, your time horizon. And the final step, which is crucial, track and adjust. This isn't a set it and forget it thing.
Right. Check in once a year, see how you're doing, make changes if needed.
Exactly. Life changes, goals change, markets change. Your plan needs to adapt too.
The guide also warns about common mistakes, besides starting late, like taking money out early.
Big mistake. Taxes, penalties. It really hurts your long-term growth. Another one is not getting the full employer match if you have one.
Leaving free money on the table.
Yeah. And not diversifying enough. Putting all your eggs in one basket is risky.
Okay. And there are tools to help with all this.
Loads. Good retirement calculators from places like Vanguard, Fidelity, NerdWallet. Investment platforms like Robinhood, E-Trade, Betterment make investing accessible.
And financial advisors.
Yeah, especially if your situation is more complex. Or if you just want personalized guidance, a good advisor can be really valuable.
Okay. Now, what about the pushback? The guide tackles some common reasons people put this off, right? Like, what if I don't live that long?
Yeah, it acknowledges that uncertainty, but flips it. What if you do live a long life but run out of money? That could be devastating. Planning is about preparing for possibilities, including a long life.
Good point. What about, I just can't afford to save right now. Money's too tight.
Totally understandable. The advice, start small. Seriously, even $20 a month. The key is building the habit.
Right. Get the ball rolling. You can always increase it later when you earn more.
Exactly. Just start somewhere. And the last one, the stock market is too risky.
A common fear.
It is. And yes, there's short-term risk, volatility. The guide acknowledges that. But it argues that not investing is actually riskier long-term because of inflation.
Your money loses value just sitting there.
Right. So manage the risk through diversification. Stay focused on the long term, but don't let the fear paralyze you from investing at all.
Okay, so wrapping this all up, the big takeaway seems to be retirement planning isn't about sacrifice now. It's about freedom later.
That's it, exactly. It's about building future financial security. And that power of starting early, that compounding, it's just immense.
So the call to action is simple.
Super simple. Just take one step today. Open an account. Set up a tiny automatic transfer. Call an advisor for an introductory chat. Whatever it is.
Just do something.
Yeah. That first step is often the hardest, but it gets the whole process moving. Your future self will definitely thank you.
Absolutely.
And as the guide suggests, for more insights and tools, following resources like SideBySide can help you keep learning and making smart choices.
Right. And finally, we always like to leave you with something to chew on. Here's a thought. With automation changing so many jobs, how might the whole idea of retirement change for your generation? What could that look like?
That's a big question. Definitely something to think about as you plan your own path to financial independence.